Black Keys right there. Tighten Up, the name of that track, the first single off their LP, Brothers. And you heard Beach House before that with Used to Be. And finally in studio right now, Justin Howett and Adam King, Justin Rhymes, or Info as they're better known, finally made it in studio. You had a little trouble getting here.
Yeah, a little trouble. Work a job normally 8 to 6 every day, so it makes it a little tough to get out early. So with bad weather and stuff like that, took its toll, lots of traffic and stuff. So.
That's all right. We got you here now. We got lots of time, so
yes,
we can kind of go through things. First of all, why don't we just get out of the way, your biggest influences. Who do you think you sound like the most, or who do you think influences your sound the most out of all the people you listen to?
That's a very good question. Obviously, back in the day, we had our main favorites. Obviously, your Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, still DRE type songs, those kind of anthems back in the day. But now I've kind of moved more towards Canadian hip hop, Classifieds, other big names like Decisive. There's so many out there. Producers like Moonshine, Ninth Uno. There's so much good Canadian hip hop in so many other different places in Canada that I just been exploring kind of the underground scene. And it's incredible what you can find.
Even out east, I think a lot of
out east.
Really weird.
There's a lot of the guys out east started coming over to Toronto, and they start hitting it off in Toronto and stuff like that. But it's like anywhere, London, Ottawa, everywhere you go, there's crazy talent. DL Incognito and from Ottawa used to be our favorite back in the day. So many good songs that he had back in the day, and there's so many influences.
Yeah, they were talking with Mike Alfano off the air about going to the CNC Festival here in Hamilton. Even the hip-hop scene in Hamilton is growing by the day, it seems like. It's just like all these bands and hip-hop groups are just popping out of nowhere. And they're really on display at the CNC Festival this past weekend, which is the first real time I've had a chance to see it live. And there's a lot of support in this area, especially for the hip-hop artists.
That's a very good thing to hear. Thank you, Hamilton.
When you produce your music, do you see yourself trying to emulate like a Dr. Dre or a Snoop Dogg?
I wouldn't say try to emulate. Try to use a bunch of different styles and kind of mix them all together. I wouldn't say one particular person or one particular group of people really influenced me. It's more the collaboration of everything on one mosaic of so many different styles, and mostly, to be honest, mostly just myself, just expressing who I am. Emotions, stuff like that is where most of my songs basically come from, and it's from the heart, and no BS. It is what it is, and that's it, bud.
This question's for Info, I guess I should call you. Do you rather go by Adam or by Info?
Info's fine.
All right. What do you really bring to the Justin Rhymes material?
Well, really, I don't know. We've just been doing this together for so long that, we end up in the same place at the same time all the time doing it. And it's not so much, collaboration. It's more, he's doing his thing and I'm doing my thing, and it just happens to come together. Sometimes, sometimes I'm off doing my own thing, But for the most part, I think we feed off each other a lot, too.
This first track I'm going to play here is Rain Again, and you're featured on the track.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about this track?
To be honest, like these mixtape type songs, they just happen. It'll just be, it'll be an hour or something like that. So it's not, it just, I don't know.
Just flows. There's a certain moment, certain time of day. This day, to be instanced, it was a rainy day. Terrible day to go outside, and it was just me and him kicking it, rain obviously sometimes makes you feel a little depressed, a little down, under the weather, if you will. So that's basically where this song came from.
All right, well, we'll play it right now. It's a good track for today, I guess, because
it's a
kind
rainy
of the
day.
same inspiration. So it's Justin Rhymes off your EP Willing and Able. It's the first track called Rain Again on the Greg Balloch Radio Show on INDI 101. Back on the Greg Balloch Radio Show with Justin Rhymes and Info right there. That was Rain Again off Willing and Able. And that was good production on that track. Where do you do your most of your recording?
Funny you mentioned that. Roughly about, I'd say 9 months ago, I saved up a bunch of money and bought my own recording equipment. Needless to say, it was one rainy day. We were just hanging out at my house in Etobicoke, and we made the song literally with my equipment in the living room. With literally a dog barking, and also as well with our buddy on the couch talking during it. But Info has a very skilled talent. We're mastering tracks, making them sound absolutely phenomenal, and his fine mastership and us literally in the living room recording that song.
It's a good skill to have, and it really shows in the recording. So
Good.
well done, guys. Every artist has their own unique kind of way when it comes to writing their lyrics. Do you have any special process that you go through when it comes to writing the actual lyrics?
Well, a lot of the time, seeing as you said, there's not too much censorship, as long as that's okay. We like to get a little silly, to be honest with you, before we sit down and kick our mixtape songs. Other songs on my CD, some of the more thoughtful songs, more meaningful, emotional songs, would be me, by myself on, let's say, a weeknight after work, either frustrated from work, frustrated from, girl troubles, frustrated for whatever, and just record, or sorry, not record, write, obviously, before I record, and just kind of thoughts that come to my mind when I'm listening to the newest beat that I've taken fancy to or what have you. That's how I do my stuff.
And you just flat out write? Like, I know some people like to think of it as poetry first and then kind of transfer it over. You just flat out just...
I just literally put the music on when I'm in the proper state of mind, and literally just let my emotions flow onto the page.
It's probably like picking a certain child, but do you have a track that you produce that you really think is your best, and it's your best work?
One of the ones I think conveys one of the best messages, for sure, in regards to the Canadian hip-hop industry. It's a very difficult industry to be in. There's, honest to God, so many talents all over Canada, and
no funding.
Yeah, and no funding, nothing to show for it. We do have some huge names, Drake, Justin Bieber, those kind of names. Obviously, everyone's heard of them. They are just blowing up, but there's so much other talent that have so much thoughtful and meaningful music that aren't being heard. It's this song that I made. It's called "I Can't Win," and basically it's exactly about that situation, being in the Canadian industry and not being able to win or succeed, kind of thing.
Well, we'll play that one later a bit in the show. I think it's the one after this one, because we'll play it in order from...
Yeah, of course.
We got your EP here, and do you use the internet a lot to get your music out there? Do you see the times kind of changing towards where the internet is becoming the main focus for artists in order to get their music out there?
Of course, and I'll, obviously focusing on the Canadian music industry, because that's what I'm most familiar with. You see a lot of guys that are making CDs that should be, to me, going like triple platinum and be selling out of stores, that are allowing you to download it off their website for free. Yeah. Just because they want people to hear how good their music is. And it's a sad thing to see in a certain way, but I think there's big things to come for everyone. And yeah.
Get a few donations here and there. I guess it's better.
Exactly.
It's better than not having music out there.
Oh, of course.
I personally think that, it can be a bad thing too, because when you have such a big big venue for pretty much anyone who wants to put their stuff on the internet, then you're going to have it flooded also with a bunch of stuff that makes it harder for the people who do have, and I think that is what's making it the hardest thing, is there's MySpace and stuff was a great tool, but it's just that type of thing isn't working anymore, and there's too much of it. You know what I mean?
I think that's why you see like a lot of music blogs are kind of blowing up, because people trust the blogs to kind of weed through the crap, so to speak, where they just get rid of the stuff that isn't worth checking out. So it's, you get picked up by one of those blogs, it's definitely a good thing.
Oh, for sure. Now it's almost like with iTunes, going online and buying tracks off of iTunes, you can literally go and pick out certain songs off of an album that you like and just pick, one track, 2 tracks, 3 tracks. Whereas before you buy the whole album, a lot of time when a person makes an album, it's like, it's a whole feeling throughout the whole album kind of thing. It's like a point in your life that you're capturing on a microphone. And I think the internet kind of takes away from that. You don't go out and buy this sweet CD that you really want to hear, bring it home and listen to the whole thing front to back and really feel what that person's like. So it's a good thing for people making those blow-up hits, the club bangers, if you will. But for people that are making the meaningful stuff, and it makes it a little difficult, to be honest.
All right, well, we'll get to another track right now. This is the one you actually made a video for, and we'll talk about that video in just a bit. But it's I Need Some Help is the name of the track, and we'll get to that right now. Justin Rhymes.
Yes.
In studio.
Check it out.
On INDI 101. Back here in studio.